have a little bit of advice. Part of it I kind of gave one. The co-op program, the notion of social justice, and the notion of student involvement in the decision-making process in the school are all part of the curriculum. They're not add-ons to the curriculum. It's what made Antioch so unique, and that the curriculum is incredibly important. And I had wonderful teachers and learned, I like to think, quite a bit. But that all of those things were what make an Antioch education. The second thing is about the Antioch calendar for the people who are wrestling with it. I just want to tell you, there's no good calendar in Antioch. So don't give up the notion of finding the perfect calendar, because it doesn't exist. So you'll get to something. One of the major things in higher education today is assessment. And I worry about assessment because I realized about 5 years out of Antioch, so many of the things that I learned at Antioch, but that it really hadn't hit me yet. And I'm sure we've all had that experience. And so it makes assessment hard, but I know in the process of gaining accreditation, there's no way to avoid it. So I just kind of throw that out to keep in mind. To the alumni, which I am a very proud member of, we get nostalgic. What worked when we were here will not necessarily work tomorrow or next fall or the year after that. I'll give you only one quick example. I would, on a Friday, finish my last exam or hand in my last paper, whatever it was, at 3 in the afternoon or 4 in the afternoon, jump in my car with 3 or 4 other people. We would drive to New York. My co-op job was going to start Monday morning. We would drive straight through, get into Manhattan on Saturday morning, park at 72nd Street and Broadway, buy a New York Times, look at the 4 rent apartments. All Saturday afternoon spent looking at apartments. By Saturday night, I had gotten a place to live and could go home and see my folks and eat out their refrigerator and get my laundry done, come back, move into my apartment Sunday, and go to work on Monday, 4 blocks from where the apartment was. I got to tell you, folks, you can't do that in New York. You can't do it anyplace. And so the world is different. Every program is going to be different. The nostalgia of how wonderful X was is not necessarily going to be that way for next year and the year after students. So that always has to be kept in mind. The other is that I'm a proud graduate of the alumni board as well. And to the alumni board specifically, but to the alumni in total. One of the cautions that I want to leave you with is that the alumni are one of the most important aspects of the college and probably the single most important asset of the college. That the college won't function with the alumni not helping out, contributing in a variety of ways. But the alumni do not run the college. That is the job of the Board of Trustees, the faculty, the students, the staff, and the administration. And that because the college got closed down, the alumni board filled an incredible vacuum. And I think that Nancy Crow and others on the alumni board deserve a huge quantity of recognition for keeping this whole thing alive. But the alumni board selected a great group of people to be a board of trustees, and that they now have the responsibility for the college. And the faculty, when it comes, are the people who were responsible for the curriculum. I was at the college twice when the board handed down a curriculum, both times, a complete disaster. Curriculums weren't even that bad, but by handing it down, it was a total disaster. So essentially what I'm saying is butt in and butt out at the same time. Not easy. For Antiochians, it's really hard. And I think probably I'll stop at that point. This place has meant so much to me, and I have been so privileged to both be a student here, a dean here, a faculty member here, an alumnus, and the parent of an alumnus. There's no way I can repay my debt to this college. And I thank all of you so much for giving me this really cherished award. Thank you.
To add to Steve's many services to Antioch is that he is now serving on the Presidential Search Committee. Another extraordinary commitment, and his experience is invaluable in making that decision.
After I left the alumni board, I said that I was going to leave Antioch for a little while. And then Matthew Durr, 20 minutes later, had gotten me on a committee. The problem is people ask me to do something I can't say no to. And then Francis asked me to be on the Presidential Search Committee. You can't say no to Francis. It's impossible. And I'm now on a committee to look at community government. I wasn't going to do that, but Jennifer Berman asked me. I can't say no to Jennifer Berman. So it's a real problem. Anyhow, thank you all.
Are there any other questions? Mike?
Steve, what are 2 or 3 or 4 things that you think are most important that the alumni can do now for the new Antioch?
I think the alumni, it's hard to, I'm not an expert on this, but the kinds of things I think of that are really important is the networking. Now I live in New York City. That I go to New York City alumni meetings. There are 60 to 100 people who showed up, which is a pretty good number, except there were 2,000 alumni probably in New York City. And that how to reach half of those would be incredible. I mean, that I know that one of the real issues that the new college faces is in the raising of money to go to a foundation. The first question is, what's the percentage of alumni who are supporting the institution? And if the percentage is in the teens, that's not looked upon the same way as if the percentage is in around 50%. And so one thing is networking, and certainly the alumni have been doing that. When we're 4 alumni chapters to how many now? 40? I mean, it's a huge thing. I think that's one thing. Financial support is, of course, another one. Young alumni who don't have the financial means to support the college are the ideal people to help recruit high school students. No high school students wants to hear from me about how much I love Antioch. As soon as I walk in with gray hair, forget it. It might have been true for you, but the world is different. You probably don't even know how to text. And they're right, I don't. But young students do, and so it's a lot of things that people can do. But I think those are a few that come to mind. But that the college needs a huge amount of support. That I think that Matthew and his team and the new president are in a very unenviable position. Part of my resentment to the university is if they had accepted ACCC's original proposal, the college never would have been closed. And so it means the issues of accreditation and granting degrees, which are all huge, monstrous hurdles to go over, would not exist. But they do. So history is done, and that kind of there's so much help that needs to be done with those issues. And keep loving the place, and that if the college stumbles in one way, I venture to guess we all stumbled when we were here. It's hard for me to. I prefer not to talk about 2 or 3 things that I did when I was a student. And I think all of us have such things in the back of our minds. So give the place a chance. Anyhow, thank you.